Hello, everyone. Let me just make sure audio and everything's good. I have to do that off my phone, unfortunately, so it's going to take a second. Come on, I'm live. All right, we're good to go. Hi, I'm Zach Ramilius. You are here for Alabama-Texas postgame live. From the Alabama side of things, I run the Alabama, or not run it, Mark runs everything and does a great job. I do post games for the Alabama channel here at the Voice of College Football family of networks. I'm on the main channel today, so I'm on the main stage. I'm pretty excited. So I was really excited to see some of you in chat before I even hopped on. Interesting game. But Alabama does win 20-19 in DKR against the Texas Longhorns. A lot to talk about this game, and I'll be here for a little while before I got to head to work. But where do we want to start? I'm looking at you guys in the chat. I think we'll start with what there were fears about Alabama. Not that they wouldn't be a national title contender, but there were some fears that coming into the season, like what could be wrong with this team? Secondary, a lot of talent back there, but they're not the robots that go to the NFL. Wide receiver play, because it's not been – they don't have what they have had at wide receiver, because they've just been a crazy pipeline for years, it feels like now. And O-line play. And all three of those today were bad. I'm trying to get the live stats pulled up from rolltide.com. I think their website crashed, and they don't have their live stats up yet. So all I have is ESPN's live stats, and I don't love their live stat thing because they don't give me defensive stats. But man, was the defense for Texas on fire today. They played well, and that was the unit we were like, oh no, let me take this headphone out. We were like, oh no, what? This is where Alabama can really take advantage of the Longhorns. The Longhorns were incredible. I mean, if you just want to look at some of these stats, again, ESPN's live stats, so I'm reading these for verbatim. First downs, Texas 25, Alabama 16, and Texas was only 3 for 12 on third down. Quinn Ewers got hurt. Total yards, 371 for Texas, only 374 for Alabama. The Texas defense was really good today, and we'll find out as the season progresses if that's Texas being better than they were last year, where they were horrible on defense, just horrible, or is this a problem moving forward for Alabama? I don't know the answer to that. I have a feeling I think it's a little bit of both. I think the defense is better, and I think the offensive line today for Alabama was bad. Bryce Young, he wasn't great today until he had to be, and he was amazing at the end, and that's why he won the Heisman. He's going to be a top 5 pick. He's the escape he made on that final drive, or even I thought he was down. That was the play of the game, and he escaped. He got some yards and got the field goal, got it into field goal range. Excuse me, and they kicked it through and win the game. I'm looking at just some of your comments now. Let's do this for a first run because you guys have been awesome. Keep it coming. Be here probably about an hour 15. Let's see. Quinn Ewers was tearing it up. Anybody who doubted Quinn Ewers, which is fair, he didn't play at Ohio State last year. We had never seen him play football. He showed today why he had the recruiting ranking he did. You can't always base things off one drive, especially a first drive of the game, because it's scripted. You practice those plays 100 times to get ready for a game. What was most impressive was the second drive, and then he got hurt. And I hope he gets healthy because that kid is awesome. And with Worthy on the outside and Robinson, they could have some special talents. That's going to be this is going to be the talking point all year. And it's hard to necessarily disagree. I disagree. I think because of how gimpy Hudson Card looked, it was pretty cool. Like Will Anderson just running at him, and Will Anderson had a bad game. He had a bad game. He looked rattled and just out of control. But he made the play at the end to force the field goal. And it was a long field goal. Yes, they did. Alabama's run defense, I don't think anybody was necessarily concerned about, but they showed up in a big way today. I mean, Bijan Robinson might be the best running back in the country. 21 carries, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 1 long carry of 18 yards, but outside of that, as Pitt is going to score a long touchdown against Tennessee. Yeah, that's a 60-yarder. But 1 touchdown. He had a long 18, but he wasn't normal Bijan Robinson. The Alabama run defense looked as good as it always did. The secondary is where they had a lot of issues. Bama's O-line and wide receivers got exposed. It's hard to disagree. The wide receivers were not good today. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs had the most looks. Young look average. I think a lot of that's the wide receivers and the O-line play. But when he needed to be great in the final 2 drives, he was, which is the big. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. They were bad. They weren't good. Like, Texas played a good game. You have to give a lot of credit to the Longhorns. I don't know. I can see the breakdown. I don't know how many of you are Alabama fans, how many of you are Texas fans, but you got to give Texas a lot of credit today. They played a great game. That crowd, DKR always has a little bit of a reputation as more like a pro crowd, which is kind of an insult. Alabama fans, you hear the same thing about Brian Denny, where it doesn't get crazy like it does against, like it does like LSU or a Clemson or a Penn State, the whiteout. It was nuts today. That was a great atmosphere, and Alabama can get that way too. Thinking like LSU 2019. Yeah, 15 penalties for 100 yards is inexcusable. Especially the one drive where it felt like every play was a face mask. Then it was a defensive holding, then pass interference, then pass interference in the end zone. They were very, very sloppy today. And Texas had its moments of sloppy too. What was it, the second drive, where their offensive lineman just stupid, obvious penalty, and cost them a big game. But I think that was the drive anyway. Bama, how far will they drop? I see some of you talking about. Let me see real quick. They were struggling for a little bit. So how did Ohio State finish against? Okay, yeah, they played how they probably should have. Dropped to 4. I don't know. The drop, they're not going to be number 1. Georgia's going to be number 1, but I don't see them dropping that far. Okay, but this game. Do I need to turn on? I got one. I can't do 2 TVs right now because I got to talk to you guys, and I'm going to have fun doing that. Oh, Notre Dame, no. This is a great point, and I don't actually know how to reply to it. There are narratives out there. This is actually a really good point, and I have no argument against it. I have no argument against that point. The only thing I would say now is Notre Dame doesn't look that good. They're losing to Marshall at home. But that's a good point because there is this narrative now. What Alabama overcame to get this win on the road. But Texas lost their quarterback, and Hudson Card. You could tell immediately when Hudson Card came in, the play calling changed. Ewers was back there just chucking it all over the field, and once Card came into the game, it was a lot of screens. It was a lot of get horizontal, and it didn't work for the most part. What Card was in there, it just Bijan Robinson had the touchdown, but it just didn't work while he was in there. You guys are all arguing in the comments. That's what we love to see. Ewers is a stud. I was impressed. I mean, you see the recruiting ranking, and there are busts in recruiting. We all know this. But more often than not, somebody that high is good. Trevor Lawrence isn't like a latest example of that. And he's like one of those rated like up there with Trevor Lawrence. And he looked great. And then he got hurt. And hopefully he's not out for the season because I'm not like a Texas fan, but I just love fun. And he seems like a fun dude. Bryce Young has ice in his veins. He sure does. Those last two drives, he was still facing pressure. His receivers were still dropping passes, which was a problem today. Huge problem. And he came through, made the plays when he needed to play. And that's what elite quarterbacks do. Even when things aren't going great, they find a way to win games, which is what Bryce Young did against Auburn last year, LSU, and this year against Texas. Will he win a Heisman again? Probably not. It's so hard to repeat for a reason, but he's going to be a top 5 pick, and for good reason. He's an awesome quarterback. This is something I wanted to bring up, and I'm just kind of reading your guys' comments. And so I want to see what you guys have to say about this. What did we think of Sarkisian playing really conservatively in the red zone? I'm thinking of that missed field goal at the end of the half at the 2-yard line. It stayed close, but there's no promise it does. And when you're playing a team like Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia or whoever, you have to be aggressive. And I didn't like that call. You were moving up and down the field. Worthy was having a great game. Bijan looked good on that drive, and you only had a yard or two to go, and you kick a field goal. And then you missed it, which is kind of karma for, don't want to use the word cowardly, but it was a very conservative call, and they missed it. But we'll talk about that here in a second. More. Saban looked like he aged 10 years. He is. I mean, he's 70, so he's not like he's a young man anymore. Has he lost his edge now? No, he's still the best coach in the country. But it's clear it may not happen because you never know, but Georgia called next on Dynasty, and for Alabama to win another title, they're going to have to go through Georgia once, maybe twice. But all of a sudden, after Alabama's win today, that schedule looks a lot tougher. Arkansas looks tougher. We'll see what Tennessee does against Pitt today. They look terrible 9 minutes in, not going to lie to you. They're already down 10-0. So let's see. What else have you guys said? Talking about J.J. McCarthy, which you're talking about Alabama, Texas, but best of luck to him tonight. And this is true. Texas is at a point in its program where they need to learn how to win games. You saw them last year. They lost a lot of one-score games. I hate the term learn to win because it's kind of goofy. You just kind of win a game. But there is some truth in it. Some team like Nebraska, they just don't know how to win games. they get down to the end and they just don't know. They do something stupid or just something goofy, and yeah, they just don't know how to win. And they need to get over that hump. And Sark, at least for the first half when Ewers was in the game, was in his bag, man. He knew what to call, and he's a good coach. I'm good for Sarkisian to get over his demons at Washington and USC. And, who knows where Texas will be in 5 years, but they're going to be upset today because they're going to feel like they should have won that game. You kick 4 field goals and miss a 20-yarder, but they're going to come back Tuesday, and fans can be pretty excited. Like, okay, we're on the right track. At least after today. And then 2 weeks from now, they lose to Kansas State or something. And, the Austin's on fire, but we'll get there when we get there. Saban will coach another 10 years. I don't know about 10. His contract, what now? 2029, 2028? No, DKR had a great atmosphere today. No, it's not as tough as the Swamp. It's more, like I said, it's more of a pro crowd where it's noisy, but it's not aggressively absurd. Like you see, like no one's calling timeout because they can't hear a play call on the first play of the game like you would at Penn State or LSU. But no, that was a great atmosphere today, which is good because unfortunately for Texas fans, that game was at 11 a.m. and it was only a nice, cool 126 degrees down on the turf. What are you thinking? Does Fox not think they could compete with Florida, Kentucky, or Baylor, BYU for the late night spot? That should have been a night game. It would have looked so cool. But no, 11 a.m., whatever. It was a great game. Good game of football. Sloppy game of football, but a good game of football. Talking about just Alabama as a whole, the run game for Alabama, not good today. I don't know how many of you were here last week when we did the Utah State breakdown. But I even said in the Utah State game, the running game looked better than it had last year. Last year, the run game wasn't explosive. And today they had the one explosive run. McClellan went 81 yards for a touchdown. But other than that, it just wasn't. The run game was really mediocre. Gibbs didn't look that good in the run game. He had the one, like what was as long as 7. And if you take away the 7-yarder, 8 carries for 15 yards. That's not even 2 yards a carry. And he was only at 2.4 yards a carry anyway. Did I like the game? Yeah, I had a blast watching the game. I had Mizzou K-State on one TV that I quickly turned off because that game was atrocious football. And then I had Alabama atrocious on one side. K-State looked good. And then I had Alabama on my big TV. Of course I enjoyed it. It's college football, guys. We're in week 2. If you're not enjoying it right now, what are we doing? If you're not enjoying a close game between 2 iconic brands, I mean, if you're a Bama fan or a Texas fan, you're chewing your fingernails and you're sweating, but you got to enjoy it. Alabama looks bad. I'd still rank them in the top 5. Like, I know they didn't look good today. I'm not going to pretend they did, but some of that is Texas. Like, you have to give Texas credit for that. And Texas might be a top 25 team. So, if we come back a month from now and Texas is, 17th, 16th in the country, and you're like, okay, Alabama went on the road and won a bit close game against a top 20 team. It doesn't look as bad, but there are concerns. There are some concerns, especially in the run game and wide receiver. Basically, the offense outside of Bryce Young. How well do I think Bryce Young did? Yeah. Kyle, retype that comment. I don't quite understand what you're trying to say there. You're listening to Alabama Texas postgame here at the voice of college football. We'll be here for like another hour or so, maybe a little bit less before I got to go to work. Yeah, right for us, guys. Like, this is fun. You're just talking about college football to a great community. Join the community on Patreon. Contact Mark about who your team is. And guess what? Even if you don't have your favorite team doesn't have a channel, they'll find places. I'm not a huge Alabama guy, but I love doing this, and it's hard not to know everything going on with that program, so you can do shows like this. Yeah, join our Discord. Here, just to throw up the old sponsor stuff before I get back to your guys' comments as we break down more of Texas, Alabama. Yeah, no, and that's the hard thing because you have to give Texas a lot of credit. They played well today. And if their QB doesn't go out, maybe they win that game. I mean, I think every single Texas fan will argue that they did. They would have, but no, you have to give Texas a lot of credit. Bryce is amazing. Gibbs is good in the pass game. His rushing attack wasn't good today. 9 carries, 22 yards, along at 7. Alabama looked bad and was bad, but if you're, yeah, I mean, who's behind them? Like, you're not. We'll talk about him in a second. Who was less impressive, Clemson or Alabama? Clemson. Alabama went on the road against a top 25 team, probably a top 25 team. Well, again, we'll see. It's hard to tell right now. Oh, that's a bad throw, Slovis. It's hard to say right now because we're only in week 2 how good Texas may be. Like, what if we got to the end of the season and Texas is a 10-2 team or a 9-3 team? We look back at this and go, okay, Clemson, I know for a fact Georgia Tech's a horrible team. Now, we'll see what Clemson looks like if they play Cade, because Cade needs to be the starter. DJ's not it. I think we can pretty firmly say DJ is not it. So I don't think it's fair to rate Clemson quite yet. Bryce Young did fine today. He looked pretty mediocre for about 3.5 quarters and then got on his horse. Doesn't play true. They are getting away from that. And it's not all SEC teams. A lot of like the middle, lower tier SEC teams like Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Missouri, they'll play road games. But Bama gets bags to play at these neutral site games, as does Georgia. Or Georgia just played Notre Dame in a home and home. But they get bags for that. So I'm not too upset at it. But yeah, they're getting away from it. Alabama's got home and homes against like everybody for the next 20 years. Need receiver stuff. Yeah, they were like, where was Jermaine Burton all day? All day. Where was he? He finished with 2 catches for 10 yards. And I know Harrell and Brooks are hurt. Not Brooks. Sorry, not Ja'Cory played today. I know Harrell at least is hurt. But that's they just looked bad. They couldn't get any separation. And, I need to look at the star ratings, but I doubt Texas has elite corners that are going to go in the NFL. Go ahead and ask it, my man. Yeah, great environment. Great environment at DKR today. Do you think it'll be Georgia versus Alabama repeat in the playoffs or a struggle against? I think it's clear through a week and a half because we haven't even seen Georgia play. Who are they playing today? I don't even know. Thank you. I was just blanking. So we'll see. I think Georgia's the best team in the country right now, but we have a long way to go. Like we just talked about with Clemson. What if they put in Cade, and Cade, like Trevor Lawrence, is just a monster? And all of a sudden Clemson creeps into that conversation. What if J.J. McCarthy comes in at Michigan and truly is the talent everyone thinks he can be? or what if Ohio State clicks? There's too many questions right now to say it'll be Georgia versus Alabama, but I do think these two teams are pretty safe locks to at least be in the hunt, the conversation. Now, will it be like last year where Alabama or Georgia, probably Alabama, has to beat one or the other to get to the playoff? Probably one of them will drop a game. We'll see. A long way to go. We still have 10 games left. No, that's the only good thing about the playoff and the BCS was the polls that matter don't come out until week 8, 7, end of the year, towards the middle of the end of the year, because the preseason AP poll is ridiculous. Yeah, Georgia dominated an Oregon team who was ranked 11th, not the 11th ranked team in the country. Sounds like I need to turn that game on because, well, no, I'm only going to have one TV going. I need to talk to you guys and talk about what a great game we had between two top brands in college football. But speaking of SEC, Texas A&M tied at 0 in the second quarter against Texas A&M. That's not good. That's not good at all. Is Roll Tide stats up yet? I like their website for live stats because I can get like defensive stats. I can get it's a better breakdown when you get like a team's website live stats and not ESPN or Fox or whatever. They do, and no one's stepped up yet. No one has. Burton, we thought would be that guy. Harrell, I think, could be that guy steps up to be like Bryce's number one target, but he's hurt, and we don't know what he's going to do. Louisville misses. Well, Louisville didn't miss him last night. All right. Wait, Marshall's up at half at Notre Dame. And App State just took a lead at Texas A&M. Do I have to go to work? Come on, this is not fair. Not fair at all. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, it was because of the comment. I was going to look at the Alabama. Yes, we got a box score. Let's go. Yeah, Will Anderson only had 2 tackles for a loss today. He did have the one big sack. That was a weird play call. In my opinion, Sark, I think, had a pretty good game outside of red zone play calling. Let me find it real quick. But a 3rd and 3 on the 24-yard line. How much time's left? 1:34, and then Bama calls timeout. But your quarterback's on one leg. You do have Bijan Robinson, and you run like a little rollout. Like that was like the most that was like best case outcome for that play was get just a simple sack. That was a weird play call that I didn't agree with, and it cost them. I mean, because if you get a first down there, you can run out the clock and kick a field goal, which I don't like doing, or you can go for the end zone, which is what I would do, because college kickers, and I just don't know what that play call was, but he did make the field goal. But you gave Alabama and Bryce Young way too much time. And outside of the one play where Bryce Young got out of a sack and ran for a few yards, it didn't look that hard for the Crimson Tide. Texas chokes. Yeah, I guess you call it that. I think they just lost a game to a better team. Texas fans, if any of you are in here, you guys have a lot to be proud of with your effort today. Your defense looked pretty good. They looked much better than they have. 2 sacks. 2 sacks. few tackles for a loss. Like, we didn't think those would happen. I thought you guys were going to get steamrolled on defense. And no, you hung in there and you played really hard. You played good football. But Alabama wins 20-19 in a game that, if you're on this channel, I assumed you watched. Thanks you all for coming here. The guys that do the Texas channel are doing a post game. We'll be doing post games for every Alabama game here on the Alabama channel. I can see the breakdown. I can see 20 of you are on the main channel. So once, if you liked me, you can go to Alabama at the Voice of College Football. Like and subscribe to all our channels. A lot of good people doing a lot of good work. And we all have fun. And we're just here to talk to a great community about this stupid fun sport as Tennessee scores a touchdown, 10-7. We're starting to get into more national questions, but this is a fun question. Will ND? No, I don't think so. I think Freeman will get it together. Like, I don't think they're going to lose to Marshall. I know they're down at half, but I don't think they're going to lose to Marshall. I think they'll probably roll through most of their schedule, and then they're going to look at their recruiting class and go, okay, we're in a good spot. But they can't lose to Marshall. That's predicated on not losing to Marshall. I don't think he gets fired this year. Kicked my computer. Thank you. I do a great job, I think. I think I'm entertaining. Who do I like, Florida or Kentucky? That's people on the SEC. Man. I actually, not to get too weird, but I was taking a shower thinking about this game. Because that's what I do, because I love talking college football, and I'll talk to myself about it. I like Florida, but after such an emotional game last week against the Utes, how do they come out against a Kentucky team we know is going to be well coached, they're going to be physical, and Levis is going to make some throws? I'll take Florida, but I'm not confident in that at all, which is hedging my bets a little bit, but I'm not confident in that at all. But I think Florida at home beats Kentucky, which should be a great game. I'm sad I don't get to watch it. Thank God this game a little bit was at 11 a.m. I would have taken off work if it wasn't, but yeah, so I can do this. Be here for a little bit while longer. I'm all ready to go for the most part. I just got to get the right pants on. Like Kentucky, yeah. If Kentucky wins, I wouldn't be stunned. They're a good team, and Levis is a great quarterback. They did look shaky last week against Miami, Ohio, though. If you watched any of that game, which I did because I'm a nutcase. This isn't blood. This is Powerade, I think, because I don't drink soda anymore. Say hi. Oh, you don't like that, do you? She likes the game, too. Stupid cat. No, don't knock things over, you goofball. What needs to be fixed? It's hard. Okay, and I've said this a lot, so I don't want to keep just repeating myself. Offensive line and wide receivers, they need to find ways to scheme up a better running game and get wide receivers open. They weren't getting open today. As far as I could tell, I don't have an all 22 film yet. But we could in 2 months be looking back and go, and Texas is 8-2 or 7-1 or whatever. Like, you know, they've won most of their games and they look like a pretty good top 10 to 15 kind of team. Like, and we're going to go, oh, okay, Alabama beat a top 15 team on the road. Now, the flip side is Texas falls apart like Florida did last year, and there's a lot of telltale signs of what could happen and go wrong. Now, last year is weird because we look at that game and go, oh, that's where we could see things going wrong. But Alabama was still, you know, a couple plays away from winning a national title. and without their two best receivers on the field. So what needs to be fixed is the run game. They need to do something with this run game, because last year with Brian Robinson, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very explosive. And right now it doesn't look good. Today was bad for the run game. A major step back. Wisconsin still tied at 0 with Washington State. What is going on in these 2:30 games? These are some weird scores right now that I was not expecting. Go throw up some more of our stuff. But subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Oh, I need to hide comments. Sorry, Kyle. I like your comment, but I'm gonna hide it for now. Contribute. Call in our call-in show. Shop Amazon. Hit that like button, like I said. Write for us. Sign up to write. I wrote for SB Nation for a number of years before they shut down Team Speed Kills, which was the SEC website. So just do it. Writing's fun, and if you're writing something you're passionate about, it's not that hard unless you type with like one finger. But join our community on Patreon. Sponsor the show. Contact Mark. Don't contact me. I'm not going to know what to do. Join our Discord and sign up at the Patreon. And follow me. Most importantly, not really, but follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. You can hear all my insane. Today I tweeted a lot about the Mizzou game because I was just getting so mad at the Missouri Tigers. And I'm tweeting a lot of horror movie stuff, and of course, plenty of college football content. Let's see here. You're venting? Did I miss something? The safety. We haven't even talked about that yet. I'm going to be honest here. I don't think the safety should have held up unless they called intentional grounding. And I don't know how much one penalty. I mean, Alabama had enough penalty yards that if it was going to affect the game at all, it should have. But man, when you miss a big call like that, of course, it's going to affect some kind of outcome. Man, the refs today, it's hard to say they were bad because they did call a lot. The SEC officiating does let the teams play more often than not. Today they didn't really let him play, especially in the secondary. Well, Alabama got away with a couple of them. The one deep shot to Worthy, I think it was McKinstry, kind of held on to Worthy. No call. But no ref's going to be perfect. One of my best friends is a ref and does like NAIA football in high school, and he's like, man, like you don't see everything. It's impossible. Also, it's Adrian Martinez, who I'm not ranting about the Mizzou Kansas State game, but he wasn't good today. You guys might have come up top on that quarterback thing. We'll see. It probably was because you're Nebraska and Adrian's like knee would drop because he would try to run out of it because he's not a good quarterback. Well, Utah has 73 points against Southern Utah. Let's take a quick trip around the SEC since we are on the SEC channel. I want the full scoreboard, please, ESPN. Take a quick trip through the SEC. Appalachian State and Texas A&M are tied at 7. Mizzou loses to Kansas State. Hits up on Tennessee. I know that. I'm watching it. Why is it skimming through conferences? We're going to the Big Sky now. They're very insistent I tell you all what's going on with Montana State. Florida. Who does Georgia play tonight? Samford. They're up 6-0 at the end of the first quarter. But they have the ball at the goal line, so that'll be a touchdown. Anyway, SEC, a little weird today. You had some good out of conference game. Well, good out of conference games. Yeah, Adrian Martinez today, 9 for. Not. I was trying to pull that up. 9 for 20. Not great. But Kansas State didn't need him to be great to win today. Anyway, but back to the game. So what I wanted to talk more about is, and please comment, because I don't know. Didn't watch that game. I really should have, but because I have to do this, I really wanted to watch this game. And I was watching the Mizzou game, and then I was watching other things, and I was prepping for this. But, man, feel even worse that you lost to Northwestern in Ireland. God. What a weird day. I just can't believe Duke won a game. Good for them, man. Like, I thought they would have a real chance to I thought Duke would have a real chance at winning like 1 or 2 games. Like Georgia Tech versus Duke would be like the game to decide like who's not going to finish in last in the ACC, who's going to win one ACC game, and Duke gets a win on the road. Notre Dame a little too close for comfort. Yeah, what is going on in South Bend? Is Bryce Young clutch? Yes. I mean, obviously. Yeah, man, he's clutch. We saw it again in Pittsburgh touchdown. We saw it against Auburn. We saw it against Georgia at times last year in the SEC title game. We saw it against Texas today. He just knows how to win games and make plays. Touchdown Washington State, and they're up early at Wisconsin. I really don't want to go to work, guys. They want to go work who concert am I working tonight? 21 Pilots. Who is calling me? I hate getting phone calls. A spot or two. I don't think they're going to fall behind like Clemson. Future of the SEC. Yeah, especially because I've talked about this. I've got 2 cats next to me. Sarkisian, Texas fans were going to be disappointed, but they can look and go, we're going on the right path. Now, will they continue to stay on that path or will they dip and veer? It's Texas, so you never really know. But he's recruiting at a high level. He's got Quinn Ewers for at least one more year after this one. And then he's got Arch Manning coming in. They're always going to have skill players. There's a lot to be excited about if you're a Longhorn fan as you enter the SEC here soon. We'll see. You never really know until it happens. Yeah, he did look old today. I think it was the heat because it was like 120 degrees on the turf. It was the heat. That was ridiculous. That was the other reason I got confused on why that game was at 11 a.m. Like, do you know where you're playing this game? It's going to be stupid hot. Yeah, shoot, I don't even know if I know him, to be honest. Tyler Harrell. I don't really see an update on Tyler Harrell, and JoJo Early's out for an undefined amount of time. I didn't mean to click on this comment, but Marshall up on, does Ohio State suck? No. But as that game goes on, oh, man. You can't lose that game, Notre Dame. Come on, Notre Dame. You can't lose that one, can you? I don't even hate Notre Dame, but You can't lose that one. Oh, on the flip side, though, I guess you can. You guys are making me want to end this stream just so I can go watch these games. Holy cow. Might do that. Actually, I got to go to work. But they turned it over downs. No way. Oh, my Lord. Well, goodness gracious. Anyway, let me talk for a little bit. Yeah, Tyler Harrell's the guy that I think could be like that Jameson. What is going on with my hair today? And I'm doing it on the wrong side. That could be that replacement for Jameson Williams or John Mechie. We just haven't seen him play. But if he's not healthy, he can't be that guy, and you can't get reps with Bryce Young. So it's going to be interesting. I work down at the Enterprise Center where the St. Louis Blues play. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Harrell. Wow, Pitt is up by 10. Pitt offense looks great. By the way, speaking of Pitt, did anyone else find it funny when Narduzzi kept throwing Whipple under the bus, and the Nebraska fans here, so kept throwing Whipple under the bus. And the first play of the game, they ran in shotgun. They ran under center with fullback, and it's like, man, you just had the best season of your career as a head coach. You threw your offensive coordinator on the ground, and then they had to like keep proving like, no, this is how we're going to do things. And their offense looked way better at shotgun, but Pat Narduzzi is like the most boring human being on earth. Let me think of other teams. Because out of the teams that we perceive as elite coming into the year, I'd probably tend to agree with you. There's other teams that look good. He was jittery. I'll say this: he was jittery today. Yeah, a couple personal fouls, a couple offsides. He was bad today. But then at the end, man, like Bryce Young, like he's going to be a top. Will Anderson isn't going to win the Heisman, but man, he might be the best player in the country. Sort of like how Chase Young was a couple years ago. Well, not true. Joe Burrow threw for 60 touchdowns. Oklahoma hasn't been tested yet. We'll see if Nebraska will be a test next week. I would assume they will be. I assume they will be a test because Heisman winner. I'm excited. I can't watch that game, but I'm excited to at least tomorrow watch as Braylon Allen goes nuts. To watch J.J. McCarthy. I think that could be really fun for Michigan. If he's good, like it's all set up for him because Cade was not good last week. He was fine. He was fine, but it was Hawaii. Like Hawaii made Mike Wright at Vanderbilt look like the next coming of Vince Young. If JJ's good tonight, he gets that job. Man, Michigan could be a lot of fun. Like I think we underrated Michigan coming into the year. I think Michigan's a good team. I think they're a really good team. But they lose Ajabo. They lose Hutchinson. They lose Hassan Haskins. And I think we all underrated them coming into the year. It's still a really good team. And if J.J. McCarthy becomes, maybe not elite. I know you said Heisman. I know I hope, being facetious. But if he's a good quarterback for them, they're right back in the Big Ten hunt. Oh, Hendon Hooker, you overthrew him. That's crazy, isn't it? That's so they're 8-2 now. Like that's just crazy. That and the fact that they've played, it was a little shocked that they've seen them. This is the 10th time they've played. But hey, what are you gonna do? Oh God! All right. Well, I've talked about the team stats enough. I guess I'll pull up Marshall Notre Dame's. I got him on the 47. Do I need to update it? Yeah, I got him at second 14 on the 47. Did I miss a play? Go. Oh, no, 30-yard run. Oh, no, Notre Dame. No, come on. Come on. You're going to make Ohio State fans cry. Marshall to the Power 5. I think there's better candidates. How are you so far ahead of me? I just got them 1st and 10 at the 31. Dude, this stream is, I'm streaming Watch ESPN, but this is terrible. Marshall to the SEC. Marshall to the Big Ten. Duke will be in the playoff. Well, they did beat Nebraska Nightmare Northwestern in Evanston, which is a notable tough place to play. I feel like I'm drinking wine. Touchdown, Wisconsin. Oh, that I just saw the touchdown. What is that pit corner doing? Oh, no. That's pretty rough. Taking my time for my ride. All righty. Well, I think we talked enough about Texas, Alabama. Congrats to the Crimson Tide and the fans. Great game today. Did not think it was going to be a great game, and I was wrong, and I was happy I was wrong because the other game I was watching was pissing me off. So, so thank you guys all for being here. This was a lot of fun. I wish I could go longer. I really do, but I got to go to work. We'll be back here next week for Alabama. God, who do they play next week? Louisiana Monroe. If that one's close, we're going to have a lot to talk about. And then they play Vanderbilt, and then October 1st at Arkansas. So that's the next time Alabama will be tested. But we're here every week. Voice of College Football, Alabama. Subscribe, like. Come on, guys. I'm entertaining, I think. If I'm not, then I'm kind of screwed because this is all I'm good at is talking. Voice of College Football, SEC. Not just me. Florida people. Texas A&M people who probably aren't happy as I'm talking to you guys. Subscribe. There are a lot of people doing a lot of great work across a huge family of networks. Of course, Mark does an awesome job. He knows what he's talking about, unlike some people in the national media. Anyway, he knows what he's talking about. Everybody here works hard. You know what they're talking about, and it's a lot of fun, and we like talking to you guys. Like I said earlier, man, I talk to myself about this. I'll be driving to work or I'll be doing whatever, and I'll just be talking to myself like, man, I think BYU Baylor is going to be a lot of fun tonight. But BYU missing their top 2 receivers, how's it going to affect whatever? Because I'm a nerd. We're all nerds. If you're on this channel, you're a college football nerd. Another great YouTube channel. Sorry to inform you. But, man, subscribe, like, pledge to our Patreon, join the Discord. Just a bunch of nut jobs talking football all day. What's as Steve Adazio said, what's better than this? You guys have a great rest of your night. Congrats to Alabama. Roll Tide. I will see you guys next week for Louisiana Monroe. And, man, what a day that I'm going to miss.